following on from when we were talking about water, I'm as near to the top of this valley here as I can be, and I haven't seen any cattle for ages. I saw cattle earlier, but I haven't seen any cattle around here. There's some sheep dotted just down there somewhere. So I've taken water from, where is it, there, where it's flowing through quickly-ish there, and I've not treated it. I've just taken the water straight from there into my bottle and straight down. So we'll just see whether I die or get some deadly disease or something like that. So could be an interesting experiment, but I don't see anything up there that could cause any problems, and I'm not going to go up there and see if I see a dead sheep or anything like that. We found Riders Hill and found out where all the cattle are as well. I haven't seen any cows for a while, so I'll just have to double check the map first, but I think I'm heading off in this direction here. This is a place called Snowdon, not the Snowdon of course, but this is Snowdon on Dartmoor. Papa's Hill is just down there. I'll be there shortly. That's Rider Hill, and I'm not exactly sure which hills I was on, but from Rider Hill I was definitely not on this green hill just here, but there's a hill on the horizon. I had to have been on that hill, and when you come around here, just down here somewhere, I can't see it on my screen from this angle, but there's what looks like a, if you pardon me saying, a booby. I think it's some clay works. I did not walk past that, so I had to have been on the hill on the horizon. This is a valley that comes down into Avon Dam, there it is, reservoir. Well, that's the dam. You definitely cannot cross the dam. I didn't think you would be able to, but that's the dam. That's the river that comes from the dam. And found this bridge, and I'm sure there is definitely another bridge further down, because I crossed that many years ago. So I know there is another one further down, but before you get to Shipley Bridge. Right, I'm going to try and show you how to do a knot to a poncho. But what you need to do is you need to form a loop with the live end going over the cord that goes to the pole or peg. You then need to thread this piece through the loop, because that piece will be your loop. You go through the loop you made, around the back of it, and then back through the loop that you've made, so that you get a knot like that. Now there may be a better knot for doing this type of thing, but I find that very handy to be able to do on there. Here we are set up in camp. I've brought the MLD Cuben Poncho this time, because I'd heard the forecast was going to be not only good but exceptionally good. So it seemed like a good opportunity to give it a go. Richard made an interesting comment on one of the videos I did the other day about feet. Now, because I'm in camp and because it's not cold, I've taken my wet shoes off and taken the super feet out and just put there, so they might dry overnight, and then I've put my socks up there. So even though my feet did get damp during the day, and that's enough of my feet, even though my feet got damp during the day, you know, I can dry them out now. Well, they're dried out now, and I'm not walking very far around here. I've got my water, and I'm just going to be walking around this within a couple of feet of here now. It's 5:40, so I better set the. I brought the bivvy with me this time, so I better set that up and get the sleeping bag and everything out, and I think get the kettle on in a minute. Right, just thought I'd show you what I've brought with me. I've brought the Therm-A-Rest Prolite small. So we'll see if that self-inflates. I've brought an MLD Superlight Bivy. Not the bug bivvy this time. I thought as I'm just using this tap, I ought to potentially have a little bit more protection. So this is the 4-head net bivvy by Mountain Laurel Designs. This is the one in the pitching video for the Trowel star. My pillow, my repair kit, and I've taken out my ace bandage following a couple of discussions on that. I thought, well, I don't think I'm going to need it, so I've left the ace bandage behind. That's my bathroom bag. That's my food bag. And because it was too warm, or very warm, I never wore my Rab Miko t-shirt. But I thought, to be on the safe side, I ought to bring it. So I just stored that in there. I'll open that bag up in a minute. That's just my nighttime clothes in there. That's my Foster's cook kit. So that's everything for cooking is in that pot, apart from a mess, which is there. That's my phone charger, which I probably won't need, but I always bring that. And I brought one of the Trek and Eat meals, so I'll try that later on. But I'll start thinking about that soon, actually. And then, of course, I've brought the quilt again, which is in there. I won't take that out until I've put the bivvy, set the bivvy up. Let me just show you quickly around camp. I'm not going to say where I am, but it's not. People might recognise it anyway, perhaps. But I just step back a bit. Just, as Mr. Humphreys used to say, I kindly walk this way, which is a bit tricky with bare feet on this grass. Right, so that's camp. Ooh. Sorry, I'm not used to walking on grass. So I'll just show you what I've done here. Let's wide angle. Let's come around the back. So I've attached guy line here, turned it into a loop with a quick release knot, which I can release in the morning. So that's that corner. That one I've pegged to the ground. This one here I've pulled out on a piece of cord, one peg in the ground with one cord coming out from here down plus the one at the bottom across. I've not pulled this tight. That is, you know, there is a bit of flex on that. This one I've pegged to the ground, and this one I've just put on a loop, again with a quick release knot to undo. So that's the rear, sort of pegged to the ground, but with, you know, a few longer pieces in the corners and in the middle. And if I come around to the side, this one here I've pegged out there. So there's a piece of cord coming out there, and then I've got a piece of cord coming out for this corner down here. The sun's right on me so I can't see what I'm looking at. And then if I just come around over here, and then what you can see is here I've put a cord from that corner down, and then I've put a cord from that pole down to a peg, and then the same over this pole here down to a peg. And then the middle was a little bit loose, so I've just put, I had one last piece of cord, so I put a last piece of cord on that down to this peg down here somewhere. The sun's shining right on the screen, can't see a thing. On most of these I've used these types of knots, and I did one earlier on which I showed you. Down here I did these slidey type knots. Might need tied up the bivvy up here just with a couple of loops to hold it in place. Of course it would be better going straight up, not at an angle, but that's the best I can do with this poncho, of course. And even if there was a loop here, it would probably be too low anyway, so I think that's the best I'm going to get there. Anything else, it wouldn't really work. Of course the short mat is of course short. I like to have my head on the mat. I know in a way I'm probably wasting space. I know I'm probably a waste of space as well, but I like to have my pillow on the mat. I can always, you know, play with that in the future. So of course that means I haven't got anything under my legs, so at the moment I've laid my pack out flat, and then of course the bivvy can go over the pack like that. And of course I have this small piece of mat that I'm sitting on, I can put under there if necessary. I don't think it's going to be a cold evening. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but of course because the mat doesn't go to the end like it did last time I used the quilt, this time I've cinched up the two end pieces as much as I can cinch them up together, so that it's almost turned the bottom section into a, well, not a sleeping bag, but into a tube that I can put at the bottom, and then hopefully my feet will sort of go half on the sides rather than, you know, straight on the mat. I think you'll get what I mean. And then the top section, of course, I'll put these cords, again which you saw in the last video, under the mat. I've just put my meal on. I've put the water in, so we'll see how that goes. Excuse the duct tape, there was a tiny little gash in it, so I'll just cover that up. So I've just got that going, so we'll give that about 15 minutes and then I'll see what that tastes like. But so 190 grams plus the wrapper, so it's about 210 grams, but you get 756 calories in that meal. So that's not a bad weight to calorie ratio, that one, I don't think. Right, I hope that's in. This has been at least 15 minutes. Maybe longer. Smells okay. That's nice. And I put extra water in this time. A little bit chewy, but in its defence, I must admit the water wasn't totally boiling when I put it in. Now this is even nicer than the fish, or I was having fish for breakfast, or I've got more water in this, but this does seem to have the edge, or this is meat as well. It's nice though. Yeah, I can definitely recommend these. Yeah, that meal was wasn't bad at all actually. I quite enjoyed that. It was pretty filling, pretty full up after eating that. Oh, I know the one thing I meant to have said, the base weight of my pack and everything in the pack, as in camping stuff, was about 3.6 kilograms, which I think is around about 8 pounds or something like that. So I think that brings it into the ultralight category. It was certainly very, very light anyway. The two poles, of course, for this I've brought the Black Diamond Ultra Distance poles. So even by the time I added in my camera and my poles, I was still, I'm sure I was still under 6 kilograms, because my food was 1 kilogram, or just over, including the maths, and the clothes I'm wearing and my shoes all came to about 1.7 kilograms. I know the whole lot of everything, clothes, you know, skin out, I was under 8 kilograms for everything, which I must admit I was quite impressed with that. So I must admit you can certainly get weight down if you go out with just a poncho and a bivvy. Thought I'd just show you what I've done with the hood. I've rolled it up several times. Well, I tightened it up first with the cord that I've put around the neck. Then I rolled it up, then I put it through this bungee cord and back around again, then rolled the cord that is my neck cord around it a few times, and then just did a couple of half hitches which I can easily undo in the morning. And on the inside I've just reattached this bungee cord that Ron sends out, just to, it takes a little bit of the pressure off of the seam here, which I've seam sealed as well, just for extra protection around there. The local cows are coming to visit. 1, 2, 3 so far. Oh, I say there's a bit of amorous activity. This is not an X-rated video, thank you very much. Well, it's 8:45 and the sun is just starting to dip down. There's quite a few buggy flying around things as well, so I've got into the bivvy to try and get away from them. I just wanted to show you one other thing. I remember someone once asking what the cord was that Ron attaches when you buy the bivvy, what it's used for, and cut it into quarters, so you've got one rather than one long piece which Ron supplies. Cut it into 4 equal pieces, and then you attach it to the 2 zippers down here, and then there's also 2 zippers on the head end there. Right, it's now, what time is it? Just coming up to 9, and I'm in my inner sanctum, and I thought I'd invite you all into my bed. So, well, when I say that, that's the, hang on. Oop. Right, I rephrased that. I'll invite the 5% females that follow me. No, no, I better rephrase that as well. I don't want all 5 of you, all 5% of you coming in. Anyway, I just thought I'd invite you into my boudoir, and I'll just show you a little look around inside the Superlight bivvy. There's a bump there that's sort of a tussock under there or something. I can use that as a pillow, it's not too bad. So in here I've got my wind shirt. So if I get a bit cool, that's probably the first thing to put on, just as a very, very light layer. I've got my socks are in there, which frankly I don't think I'm going to need, and my down jacket is in there as well, which I probably won't need, but it's handy if I do need it. I've got something to eat there, I've got my torch there, and my phone charger there, and my pillow there. And there's a reasonable amount of room in here. I mean, that's my knees, you know, pardon the connotations, but that's my knees, you know. I can spread my legs a bit. Oh god. So, you know, there's a reasonable, you know, a reasonable amount of room in here. Mind you, this is the large, of course, but there is a pretty reasonable amount of room. And as I say, that's the camera. That's far away. That's probably too scary. I got this ultra wide angle with my double chin. So you know, I'm touching the top of the inside of the bivvy really before I'm touching the tarp. So, you know, I've got enough room to manoeuvre, and there's a few bugs still flying around out there. So I just hope the wind doesn't pick up and everything doesn't blow away, but I don't think it will. It was very, very windy this morning, as you probably saw in a couple of the clips I took earlier. But thankfully that wind has died right down now. It is quite cosy in here, I must admit. 10 to 7. 10 to 7. And I must admit, I slept very, very well. And I've only been awake a few minutes. I think I sort of came to a couple of times just to check the time. Then it was too early each time, so each time I put my light out again. Put the light out. Oh God. You know what I mean. Oh God. So anyway, it was about 7:15 and I thought, oh, and then I had a cow mooing. So there was a cow just over there. Although who let her out, I don't know. Oh God. Sorry. Show you around here as to what's what. It's a little bit tight, obviously, under here. But I've got my water on. I put this mat with my trousers rolled up inside at the end of the bed because I noticed that the Silnylon stuff had gone under a little bit and the breathable part has sort of gone under as well a little bit. That's my pinky there. And obviously my pack is here and everything's shifted about a bit, so I put the mat under there because I think I got too much ground sheet material up here, as you can see there. So obviously either in setting it up, I think probably in setting it up last night, and then probably in getting in, I must have moved stuff about. Of course, I think this is the first time I've ever slept on a Silnylon ground sheet. I'm sure they've all been Cuben, and you do slide around on this stuff. I must admit, for not sliding around on, Cuben fibre is a hell of a lot better. So I'll have to look into putting some silicone dots or something like that someone was talking about onto the sheet or the bed, one or the other. So I did wake up at one point and found the mat at a bit of a funny angle, and then of course I can put this sheet down here and you know, just sit slightly forward of the shelter so I can do the, you know, with water on and everything. So it works well for a fair weather shelter. As I wouldn't want to be doing this if the weather had been bad. I think that would have been a bit awkward. I suppose if I pitched it in a certain way, I guess I could have stuck my head through the poncho thingamybobs, and I could have a tarp with a hood. Would have been quite funny. Facing the wrong way though. But as I say, I was very impressed with the lightweight of this lot, I must admit. And I did sleep well. I think I slept just as well out here as I do at home. I haven't got Gizzy pouncing on me at 4 o'clock in the morning. Oh, bless her. So
That breeze is picking up again. As I say, it was very very windy when I got here yesterday. Just wanted to mention one other thing. If you remember yesterday, I drank water from one of the streams over there that was untreated. Well, I'm still alive, I haven't died yet, so hopefully that was all okay. And I say I have seen cows around, so well, as I say, there's only one way of finding out, and that's to try it. So I thought, well, I'll give it a go and see if I keel over and croak. But so far, you've still got to put up with me. I should have my porridge out. I thought, yes, there. I brought one of these with me. It's just one of my own mixtures. It's probably not quite as hot as Ow, it's pretty hot though. And I can make my tea I'll make a tea in there. I'll show you how I pack all this stuff away. Oh, I haven't had my tea yet. Down in there, as far as it will go, and that then goes in there. The other thing is, I must admit, I normally put the bubble wrappy stuff inside the Foster's can, but before I put the cone in, and I forgot to do that this time. So that's how I pack that up. I'm not sure how much I like these Exped one valve businesses, because you've got to, unless someone's got a better answer, you've got to press the valve in with one hand, and then you've got to be sort of damn clever to be able to use the other hand. Yeah. It's just a bit more fiddly. And then it suddenly stops. And there's still air in there. So I suppose it saved a couple of grams on this, but I hope they don't put them on their new mats. I think undoing a mat with that would be awkward. I don't know. I've never tried it on a mat. That sun is now starting to get a little bit of warmth in it now. 7:30. I remember listening to one of Chad's videos, and he mentions, he does a whole video on this mat, I think, the Prolite Small, and he mentioned about thinking about the extra small, and I must admit it crossed my mind, and I'm think I'm jolly glad I didn't go for the extra small. And the other reason why I like this size is I can fold this in half that way, in half that way, and that is now exactly the right length to form the back system for my Newt pack. It's not a minute pack, it's minute pack. Oh, I'm on top form this morning. So an extra small would actually be too short to form a good back frame. It would still work, but it wouldn't be as, you wouldn't have as much padding because there'd be less of it. So I must admit, I'm glad I went with that one. Now when I'm packing here I'm not using a waterproof, I'm just using the stuff sets. For the simple reason, again, I knew that it would not rain. So I simply, you know, just took a chance on these bags. So that's the quilt in that stuff set. So that then goes in next, down there. And then what I do, my pillow, I put sort of try and fold around like that. So as I say, if it did rain, which it's not going to, but if it did rain, then that would give some protection to those bags. So that's how I do that. And of course, don't forget the ultimate waterproof is the poncho, of course, because the poncho would, if you're wearing the poncho, that would actually go over the top of the pack. I think my videos are getting longer and longer, so I've nearly worn that battery out in there. Might have to start bringing a spare battery. And then what I like to do, the next thing I put in is the bivvy, and I put that at the back, and then I put the Foster's can sort of in front of it, so that the bivvy forms, you know, the bivvy is going against my back and then the pot is at the front. Right, that's what we've got now. That's water, that's outside, that's outside. That can go down there. That's my shoes and socks, which will have to go on in a minute. First aid kit can go in. Map can go in there. Oh God, that's cold. That's my food and clothes, so that can go in there. First aid kit. The glasses I probably need out, and my hat. My little ditty bags of things. I'll do my teeth when I get home. I always do them when I'm out here. I can't be bothered when I'm by myself. Compass. No, that's where I put my compass there, yeah. Waters would be outside. Waste, toilet, rubbish is in there. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is that. So I've now got to take the tap down, and I better turn you. Oh my God, I've got a dead foot. Ah! Always try and keep track of how many pegs you have. I knew I was missing one, and I was thinking, where the hell was it? And it was like one there. Oh, well, I'm nearly back at the car now. So and the time is just coming up to 9, and I left just a few minutes before 8, so it's about an hour to get back to car. But the going has been mostly relatively easy. So pretty happy with that. And I must admit, in some bizarre way,
or some good way. It seems odd that the walk's over. I've had a good time, and thank you all for watching. You know, keep watching and keep commenting, because that's all the bits that I enjoy, you know, when I'm back home, is reading the comments and seeing how many likes you've all put on and everything. So this isn't just about today, you know, this is for weeks, months, years to come, when some poor old bugger in 5 years' time watches this. So even Mr. Future, who hasn't subscribed yet, you know, thanks for watching. And as always, catch you all another time.